Prepaid Legal Services Incorporated. Is it a good option for real estate investors, or is it just another scam? This is an objective review by LegalToolsForInvestors.com. Because the U.S. government is now shifting the blame for the subprime mortgage meltdown and the massive credit crunch, real estate investors are now facing legal challenges of unprecedented proportions and severity. The economy of the United States has fallen prey to the worst real estate market in many years, due almost entirely to rampant foreclosures of subprime mortgage loans to financially unqualified buyers. These subprime loans were made easily available to just about anyone because in the late 90s and early 2000s, the Federal Reserve drastically lowered interest rates and raised money supply, resulting in the availability of excessive capital to lenders. Since the market for grade A credit borrowers is relatively small, lenders began to make loans to virtually anyone, resulting in the massive increase in foreclosures that we now have. The U.S. government refuses to take responsibility for the mess they've created and have decided instead to shift their responsibility to the real estate investing community. State governments and the U.S. Congress have begun restricting the rights of investors who are involved in very common strategies such as creative real estate strategies like subject to, sandwich lease options, etc., pre-foreclosure investors, and loss mitigation and foreclosure consultants. In some cases, these techniques have merely been restricted, but in other cases, these techniques have even become criminal and even felonious. This is a serious matter. This is not an isolated incident. Up to the present time, anti-investor laws or regulations have been passed in Washington, D.C., Florida, Hawaii, Iowa, Idaho, Maryland, Maine, Nebraska, Oregon, Virginia, Washington, California, Illinois, Indiana, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Nevada, New Hampshire, New York, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Wisconsin. And states where anti-investor legislation has been considered and may still be currently being considered are Arizona, Connecticut, Delaware, Georgia, Illinois, Minnesota, North Carolina, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Tennessee, Wisconsin. More state legislatures are working on anti-investor legislation all the time, and so is the United States Senate, led by Senator Herb Kohl of Wisconsin. The results of these types of anti-investor legislative initiatives are varied. In some cases, investors violating these laws will face fines, some as low as a few $100s and some fines in the $10,000 plus range. In other cases, investors could face criminal charges for mortgage fraud, real estate fraud, or similar charges. Conviction could result in large fines and jail time. This is not an insignificant issue. The real problem is this. Some very serious punishments are being attached to tools and techniques that we've all used properly for many years, such as subject to and sandwich lease options. And these laws target you as a real estate investor even though you are using strategies ethically and responsibly. You still face the possibility of prosecution for violations of these new laws. Do you know all the details of the laws that apply in your state and local government? Do you have a way to find out exactly what's happening legislatively so you can adjust your strategies and avoid criminal charges? I didn't either, so I called my real estate attorney who gave me this advice. He said real estate investing is no longer a freewheeling business like it once was. The best advice for you is to protect yourself by having me review every single transaction you establish and to give me a call once every month or two so I can let you know as legislation that can affect you is enacted and enforced. That seemed like a reasonably good bit of advice to me, so I asked my attorney, how much will that cost me? My attorney made an interesting point. He said, Brian, my fee is $200 an hour, and it will generally take me about 30 to 60 minutes to evaluate the purchase and sale agreements that you send to me for legal compliance. But the real question is, what will it cost you to accidentally break the law and face criminal charges? It's no fun when the district attorney or Department of Consumer Affairs comes to your door. He was right, but the economic reality of legal fees remains. It could easily cost me $200 to $500 per transaction just to have my attorney do an initial review of the paperwork, not to mention closing fees and other legal expenses. This is when I decided to evaluate Prepaid Legal Services Incorporated. I've got some good things to say about my evaluation and some not so good things to say. While I do have some criticisms of Prepaid Legal, my overall impression of PPL has been very good, and I think it's a really close match to the uniquely urgent and frequent legal needs of real estate investors. What I'm about to tell you is my understanding of my PPL plan and is not endorsed by Prepaid Legal. Prepaid Legal benefits for investors that I think are really important are as follows. First, contract review is included as a benefit with my $26 a month Prepaid Legal agreement. So each time I enter into a real estate agreement, I fax it to my Prepaid Legal attorney who gives it a thorough review at no additional cost. Legal consultation is included as a benefit with my $26 per month agreement. So anytime I have a legal question of any type, I call and speak with a qualified attorney and get my questions answered very thoroughly. And this does not cost extra and can be done as much as I need. Next, it's a nationwide service. You see, I do real estate transactions nationwide. And with Prepaid Legal, I receive the same benefits with attorneys in every other state as I do in my home state. So my nationwide legal needs are covered. Legal communications. My Prepaid Legal attorney can make calls and write letters on my behalf as appropriate, and this has saved me a huge amount of money in legal fees in the past. Lawsuit defense. If I was faced with a lawsuit, I have an automatic 75 hours of trial defense time built in, and the number of trial defense hours increases every single year, all still the same, for the same $26 per month fee. Now there's some other benefits too. There are nice benefits like preparation of wills and handling of traffic issues and IRS audit defense and discounts on other common legal needs like real estate closings, for example. But there are a couple of negatives you need to know about. First, there's the potential that you'll end up having to work with a new attorney. You see, the way Prepaid Legal works is whenever you have a question, you call up the local telephone number and tell the intake person what issue it is you're dealing with, and then they will have an attorney call you back to help you with the issue. And it's possible that the attorney who returns your call may be a relatively new, inexperienced attorney. That risk exists with any law firm. However, I've found that the easy way to deal with that is just always ask to be placed with an attorney who has significant experience in your area of need. Every time I've done that, I have never ever been disappointed with the result. Next, because of the way that Prepaid Legal is set up, it's a little bit harder to form a relationship with your attorney because, as I said, the way things work is that when you have an issue you need to discuss, you call up the local telephone number for your Prepaid Legal law firm, tell them the issue, and they have an attorney call you back. Well, because of that, you may not end up speaking to the same attorney on various similar issues. Well, what I have done with good results is that I have told the intake person that I've been speaking to that I want to speak to a specific attorney because at this point I have a pretty good idea of who the attorneys are and their various areas of competency. And so if there's a particular attorney I want to work with, I just ask the intake person to have that attorney call me, and generally it is the case that that can happen. That's not a guarantee. That's something that I have observed, but that's my recommendation to you. Now, some great things about Prepaid Legal. You're going to be working with highly regarded law firms. PPL partners with some of the largest and most highly respected law firms in each and every state in the United States. I have received consistently excellent service. You're going to get speedy service too. In fact, I virtually always receive a call back from my Prepaid Legal attorney the same day as I call with a question. I don't remember the last time that I have called up with a question and didn't get a return call by the next business day at the latest. So their service is very speedy. And they're very inexpensive. Everything I've described to you so far costs only $26 per month. It's a flat fee. Now, I give a wholehearted endorsement of Prepaid Legal for use by real estate investors. While it's not designed specifically for real estate investors, the Prepaid Legal service is a perfect match for our needs and is an astoundingly good value. It's highly recommended. My suggestion is that you visit www.legaltoolsforinvestors.com to check it out. And to reserve your Prepaid Legal membership right now, go ahead and visit legaltoolsforinvestors.com and click on the appropriate link for you. Thank you very much.